Okay. Okay, welcome everybody. Today's parsha is Devarim. It's the first portion of the new book, the last book of the part of the Chumash, Devarim. Question for today. What's the smallest piece? I know you guys know the answer. What's the smallest piece of land that most dominates the global political world? The smallest piece of land that most dominates the political world. Huh?
Israel.
Israel. Yes. And the water is not on land. Okay. And now, what's the smallest people that dominate most professional industries? The Jewish people, right? That's very interesting. Both Israel and the Jews, on one hand, they're so minute in quantity, but in quality is a whole different story. And obviously, they're very much connected, as we all know, but even more than what we think. And we're going to discuss that today. How is the Jews and Israel? What's the connection? Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
So for for all time, as Jews have always had say in their charter and in our Torah, in our belief system, the idea of returning to Israel being our homeland. I remember as a child, as a girl, school, and Eileen.
Hi, how are you?
Baruch Hashem, good to see you.
I'm sorry I'm late.
No worries, we're just starting out. Okay. There's a girl in my school. I remember her name. Her first name was Siona, which is from Zion, the female of Zion. Jews have always wanted to go back to the land, always pray for the land in our prayers. Actually, even when times were super difficult in Europe, I'm not talking about the 20th century, I'm talking about even the 18th century, there were Jewish people who when all was lost and they almost had nothing, they said, okay, let's try to travel to Israel, even though there was no infrastructure, there was very, very little there. No, just almost, it was under probably the Turkish rule at that time, I'm guessing. But there was very little there. There was no business. It was very difficult to live there if you didn't have money. So actually that's one of the things that first Chabad Rebbe did was he would send money to the communities in Israel that they should have what to live off of, because there was no commerce. There's very little commerce in Israel back in the day. So Israel has always been a very, very big part of the Jewish people's lives and wants, and everything. So yes, we know it's our ancestral homeland. Hashem gave it to the Jewish people. We moved there after we came out of Egypt. But people, today people do the 23andMe, the DNA testing, and they might see, oh, I'm part, Chinese, I'm part this, I'm part that, and they don't feel any connection to their, to what they found. But yeah. Right, all of a sudden they're Jewish, right? But that's even for me. Let's say I know my grandparents came from Eastern Europe, and yeah, from a historical perspective, I like to go and see where they came from. But otherwise, I don't have a connection to those places that they are from. Anyway, change the borders; they're changed every 5 minutes. But so yeah, it's interesting. But I don't feel oh, I'm part Ukrainian or part Polish or part this or part that. But a Jew always has this thing, my homeland, right? Israel, right?
But being Jewish, we're a people.
Right.
We're not there's Jews all over the world. We're not there's
Right.
Jews in every single country in the world. So we're we're a nation.
Right.
Yeah,
No, definitely.
nation.
No, definitely we're unique
So
and
it's
different.
not gee, you're Ukrainian.
Right, but if you want to say, okay, I came back, but I feel American. You feel like you're an American Jew.
Yeah.
I'm an American Jew, but will I say, oh yeah, well my ancestors are from Ukraine? No, my ancestors are Jewish. We don't really think, so what, they live there. We don't feel so, and a person who's not Jewish, even though, okay, people say, oh yeah, I might have some, British blood in me, or I might have some, German blood. They don't feel like, oh, I feel homage to the land where my great grandparents came from. Most people, okay, I'm American, and that's it. But with Israel, it's different. Jews to Israel, it's been thousands of years and we still feel Israel is our home and that's it. It's not just a piece of property. It's not real estate. It's something much more than that. So is it security? Do we gain security from having a homeland, from having a place? That's what people from Europe went to Israel and they tried to and created the state, right? They said, oh, all the Jewish people will have a place to run to if they're being persecuted. All the Jewish people will have a home. So yes, but the other hand, that's not the real reason. That doesn't help all the way. There was even at the time when before they created the state, they were thinking of different. I think they wanted to maybe make the Jewish state in Uganda, right? And that's why when the story of Entebbe happened, they knew the airport inside out because they knew the area, and that's how they were able to save the Jews when they got hijacked. And this, famous story of Entebbe and Air France. Okay, so very, very interesting. Okay, so today we're going to talk all about this. What is our connection to the land of Israel, and what does that have to do with our parsha? Okay, so the parsha begins. The parsha begins, as I said, it's a new book, it's Devarim, and it begins, it's Moshe, it's before his death, it's before his passing, it's about a month before his passing, and he's right before they're about to enter the land of Israel, and he's going to now give his last parting words, his last will and testament to the Jewish people. Okay? And the whole book of Devarim is basically Moshe's parting words. Okay? Lasts a long time, but it all took place in a little over a month. Okay, so text number 1. Oh, somebody's here. You made it. Okay, text number 1 wants to read it. Hello.
I'll read.
Okay, go for it, Eileen.
Okay. These are the words that Moshe spoke to all Israel on that side. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on a second. I was getting a call. These are the words that Moshe spoke to all Israel on that side of the Jordan in the desert, in the plain opposite the Sea of Reeds, between Paran and Tophel, and Lavan and Hazerath and Dizahav. It is 11 days' journey from Horeb by way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. It came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first of the month, that Moshe spoke to the children of Israel according to all that the Lord had commanded him regarding them. After he had smitten Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and Og, king of the Bashan, who dwelt in Ashtaroth Edrei, on that side of the Jordan, in the land of Moab. Moshe commenced and explained this law, saying,
Okay, 1 second. Okay, continue.
God spoke to us in Horeb, saying, you have dwelt long enough at this mountain. Turn and journey and come to the mountain of the Amorites and to all its neighboring places in the plain, on the mountain, and in the lowland, and in the south, and by the seashore, the land of the Canaanites and the Lebanon, until the great river, the Euphrates River. See, I have set the land before you. Come and possess the land that God swore to your forefathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give them and their descendants after them.
And this is how the parsha begins. It's Moshe speaks. This is just the introduction. He gives them encouragement over the whole thing, commandments, guidance. The first verse that we read is a little bit cryptic. If you read the Hebrew, it's a little bit hard to understand exactly what it's talking about. I still remember, my brother will be so proud. Before I went to, I think, 8th grade, I knew we were going to learn this portion in eighth grade. It was a summer. And my brother's like, how can you just waste your time in the summer? It was like, I did camp and it was before school started. I'm going to sit you down and learn with you. So he sat me down with this verse and he explained it to me. And ever since then, I remember it so much better than being in school because I always remember. Yeah. I should tell him. He'll be so happy. Okay. Because I was not happy with him at that point. It's all recorded. Okay. Anyway, so it's very cryptic because he's not saying he wants to chastise them, telling them what they did wrong, but he doesn't want to say it straight out. So he hints to all the different mistakes that they made in the desert, and that doesn't say them clearly. Okay, but either way, the Jews are about to enter the land. It's, 40 plus years that they were in the desert. And why are they there for 40 years? How they end up in the desert for 40 years? Because they sent with the spies, right? They sent the scouts to spy out the land. They came back with a bad report. Everybody cried. Actually, when they came back and everyone cried, it was Tisha B'Av, which is coming up this coming week. Yeah. And Hashem said, okay, you're not ready to go to the land. You're not ready to see the positive and everything. Stay here another 40 years and learn. Okay, grow. So the actual journey from Mount Sinai to Israel isn't very long. If you go by foot, it's a few weeks, maybe maybe a whole group of people, so a few months, but not a year, not 2 years. But if we look at the story of when the story of the spies took place, it took place almost 2 years after they left Egypt. So they're already there in the desert for a while, much longer than they needed. Like they didn't just rush, okay, leave Egypt, get to Israel right away. Something's taking them time. What took their time? So number one is they got the Torah. So that took some time. And then they stayed there to learn the Torah, to understand a little bit. They built the Mishkan, the tabernacle in the desert. And they also set up like a court system, like a governing system. So they did this all in the desert before they even thought of moving on to try to get to the land of Israel.
Why did they need a court?
Exactly. That's the question. One of the questions we're asking today. Exactly. Good question, Sylvia. Let us read text number 2. Want to read, Sylvia?
He has dwelt long enough. He has given you much greatness and reward for having dwelt in this mountain. You made a tabernacle, a menorah, and the other sacred vessels of the temple. You received the Torah. You appointed courts and hierarchies of leaders.
Okay. So did they really have to do all this in the desert? So they received the Torah. Okay. There's the whole reasons why they did it in the desert. But to learn the Torah, to build the Mishkan, to set up the court, couldn't they just do this once they got to Israel, right? You're on a journey, you're going somewhere, and you want to get there, settle down, and then do everything. Why figure everything out and then continue the journey? Something over here doesn't really make sense. And it says, you have received, look at text 2, you have received much greatness and reward. So they got reward for doing all this, for learning the Torah, for building the Mishkan, for setting up the courts, but why in the desert? Did it have to be in the desert? Couldn't have been once they arrived in Israel. So to understand this, we're going to learn more about the connection of Israel and the Jewish people. Okay. Okay. So why do the Jewish people need a homeland? Why would you think someone needs a homeland? Why do we need a homeland? What's the most important thing of someone or anyone to have their own homeland? Not just Jewish people. Okay. Security.
A belonging, a sense of.
Okay.
Well, Jews unfortunately need a specific homeland because we have been, persecuted maliciously for millennium.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the United States is a homeland for all sorts of diverse cultures and creeds and races and religions. It was an unusual experiment. I mean, we're still a newish country in comparison to all the rest of the world in Europe.
Right.
We are the original experiment, freedom of speech. You don't have that in other countries.
Right.
They're all socialistic or communistic or authoritarian.
Mm-hmm.
We're a true, we're a homeland to many.
What is like the most, why would any other people need a homeland? The Armenians fight for the right. There's every year there's all these things with the Armenians, all these other people. Why do other countries, why do the people need a homeland? What does it give them?
Feel safe.
So it's stability, security, identity, very good one, right? Very good one, yes. Because so what happened was power, okay. All these different things. But identity, I would say, would be the most core. Let's say you have a very small, simple country that doesn't have a strong army. Maybe they don't need to fight so much. Maybe they're, isolated on some island, Monaco, I don't know where. But they have an identity, right? This is their culture. This is how they speak. This is their food. It makes you feel like a sense of belonging, a sense of somebody. Who are you, right? So after the flood, after the story of Noah and the flood, God set out like countries and people and gave them, each place to grow and become a culture, become a type of people. So let's read that's text number 3. Want to read it, Carrie? Thank you.
From these, the islands of the nations separated in their lands, each one to their language according to their families in their nation.
Okay, so every country has a language, right? Everyone has their own little things. So each nation's identity is tied to their homeland, right? You say, you're not going to learn how to play a good hockey in Hawaii, right? You're going to learn that in Canada, right? Or to make a good a good matbucha, that's going to be in Israel, not in let's take out the garbage. Garbage. Not in Poland, whatever. Each country has their thing that they're known for, that they do, and their culture. And you want to know the best way to do it, go to that country, you'll know how to best do it. And the most important benefit of having the homeland is the identity. But by Jews, we're different. Okay? Where was the Jewish people born? We were born at Mount Sinai. Hashem made us a nation at Mount Sinai. Where's Mount Sinai? In the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. Right? Being a hard rock in a hard place. I don't know. Okay. So our identity is not our land. It's not just our land, but it's the Torah, because that's where we became a nation when he gave us the Torah. And to understand our core of a Jewish people, we need to understand the Torah. What's okay? Oh, they are? I didn't taste them.
Like they taste like sweethearts.
Oh, okay. So what are the Jews described as in the Torah? In the Torah, how are we described? What's the adjective for the Jewish people? Text number 4. Want to read it? Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're a holy nation. So we have traditions, we have culture, we have language. But the main identity of the Jew is that we are a holy nation, right? It says we're a light unto the nations, but the main thing is we're a holy nation. So what's the difference between a homeland-based identity, an identity based on our homeland, and an identity based on our holiness, a holiness-based identity? The Jewish people are a holiness-based identity and not a homeland-based identity. So there's no borders or a map of holiness. Holiness is more subtle or sensitive. You have to find it, you have to feel it. It's easy to get lost. It's easy to get forgotten. So how is Israel our homeland? What was happening in Israel before the Jewish people moved there, or as the Jewish people came there from the desert? What was going on there? There were all these different nations. They were idol worshippers. They were pagan. They didn't follow the morals of how Hashem wanted them, the people to follow. And so when the Jews moved in, yes, they had to fight the nations out, or they had to move them out, but it was still a risk because they could have gotten influenced. They'd get and there were problems. There were stories of the Jews getting influenced by the people there. Not to follow idol worship, not to do all these, unusual practices that Jewish people don't do. So before we went into the land, we needed to create a structure, a strong structure that we will be strong and holy. What was the strong structure that we created? To learn the Torah, to build a Mishkan, to make the court system, all these things to help us have a good, strong foundation and a backbone. And then we became holy, and then we could come to a country that is holy, that needs holy people.
The sense of unity.
Yeah.
That's why so many people make Aliyah now.
Yeah, text number 5, easy one. Andrea, can you read it? Do you see the screen?
Yeah. You shall be holy, for God I'm holy.
I got it, holy. Okay, good. What does that mean? What does it mean that we should be holy because God is holy? So next one, want to read this one about you?
Yes.
6. Well, Anna's off, so I'm assuming she's not available, and Eileen and Andrea.
You shall be holy. Why? For I
For I have attached you to my hip, as the verse states, as the belt is attached to the hip of man. Jeremiah 13:11. Therefore, you shall be holy, for I, God, am holy. God told the Jewish people, I am not like a human king. An ordinary person is not allowed to carry the king's name. By contrast, God is called holy, as the verse states, holy, 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 the Lord of hosts. And for the Lord of hosts is holy. The Jewish people are also called holy, as the verse states, you shall be holy.
Okay,
We
so
got it. You know what? It's Marla's parents when she said we will, the way she repeats herself. Okay, that's out.
So, for us to be holy, right? So we can be holy, but there has to be a place on earth where the holiness can manifest, where godliness can come down and be. You know, like besides, so we could be holy like Hashem, but we need to also bring that and manifest it somewhere. There has to be somewhere where the holiness can reside. And where's that? That's the Mishkan, the tabernacle, a place where people connect with Hashem, with this holiness. Okay. And then eventually Israel, the land of Israel has to be a holiness. Okay. So the Mishkan was built as a physical place where God's holiness be manifested. So Hashem's holiness could be in the Mishkan. Now let's continue text number 7. Guess Carrie, you want to read?
Yeah, okay. The main component of a holy nation is, as the verse states, you shall be holy, for I, God, am holy. The nation must be holy because God, who is holy, is present in their midst. The Jewish nation made a Mishkan, tabernacle, a dwelling place, so that there would be a fixed location for God's holy presence.
Okay, so the Mishkan was like the place where Hashem's presence was. And so once we had a holiness for a home base for the holiness, now we need to cultivate a holy identity. We need to become holy. We need to do things, bring all our physical stuff and try to make holiness out of it. Our bodies, our clothing, our homes, our relationships, everything, by doing the mitzvahs with it, we bring godliness into it. When we dress tzniut, we make the clothes holy. When we have a husband and wife do the mitzvahs of family purity, Tarat Mishpacha, then the whole relationship is holy. When your home is kosher, it makes the whole home holy. So all our mundane things should be saturated with holiness. And we do this by doing mitzvahs. Text number 8. Can I do it, Sylvia?
So that you shall remember, perform all my commandments, and you shall be holy to your God.
An example of this is the mitzvah of tzitzis, text number 9. You want to read that too, Sylvia?
That the holiness of the Jewish nation hinges upon the mitzvot. This is the meaning of the statement of the Sifri. On the verse, you shall be holy. This refers to the holiness of mitzvot. The commandments are the primary source of our holiness, and it is for this reason that our sages instituted the blessing, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to perform a given mitzvah. It is because of the mitzvot that the Jewish nation was branded a holy nation at Mount Sinai, as the verse states, and you shall be to me a kingdom of princes and a holy nation.
So we're holy, guys. Got to be careful. Okay, so this is why we need the court system, the judicial system to be set up before they came into the land of Israel. People, all the time, people have questions for the rabbis. How do I do this? What do I do? This is my situation. And they come to the rabbi and said, what do we do, right? And the rabbi helps them. This is how we do this. You know, there's so many nuances and circumstances that if someone's really trying to follow the mitzvot, they need help. They need guidance. No one just knows what to do all the time. The most holy religious people are asking the rabbi questions all the time. And not just people who are starting up, but people who are starting out to learn about the mitzvahs, learn about religion. They also need help because they don't know what to do either. And then, so that when the Jews got the Torah Mount Sinai, it was new. It was all new to them, right? So they had to learn, they had to understand, and they had so many questions. How do we do this mitzvah? What do we do here? What if this? What if that? And you need someone to help you. And so they needed to set up that court system where they could be told how to conduct the mitzvahs, how to conduct the mitzvahs that are person to person, like business or relationship, whatever it was, all the different things. So they need to have this set up before they came into the land, so they know they have help, they have assistance in how to become holy. Text number 10. Eileen, are you okay to, oh, she's not there. Are you there, Eileen? Can you read it?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
I'm
thank
here.
you.
I can read.
Thanks.
Alrighty. Hold on.
Mhm.
Hold on. Wait a second. I'm trying to enlarge it.
Uh,
You know what?
You
My
can't.
thing is enlarging. I can't read it as small.
Okay,
Hold
too
on.
small?
Hold
I
on.
know
Well, the thing is, I'm usually, if I'm able to enlarge the thing, it's not working.
Okay, so I can have Carrie read it, and maybe it'll
Yeah,
give you a
I'm
smaller one.
sorry.
No worries. For Carrie.
In English?
Yeah, English.
The members of the Supreme Sanhedrin in Jerusalem are the primary arbiters of the oral law. They are the pillars of instruction from whom statutes and judgments issued forth for the entire Jewish people. Concerning them, the Torah states, "You shall do according to the laws that they shall instruct you." Deuteronomy 17:11. This is a positive commandment. If a doubt arose in a Jew's mind over any law, he or she would inquire of the court in their city. If the court knew, they would answer. If not, the questioner and that court or its agents ascended to Jerusalem and asked the court that held sessions on the Temple Mount. If they knew, they would answer. If they did not know, everyone would come to the court that held sessions at the entrance to the temple courtyard. If they knew, they would answer. If they did not know, everyone would come to the chamber of hewn stone to the Supreme Sanhedrin and present the question. If the matter that was unresolved by all the others was known to the Supreme Sanhedrin, either as part of the oral tradition or because of its derivation through the principles of exegesis, they would relate the decision immediately. If, however, the decision was unclear to the Supreme Sanhedrin, they would deliberate about the matter at that time and debate it back and forth until they reached a unanimous decision or until a vote was taken. In such a situation, they followed the majority and then told all the questioners, "This is the halacha."
Okay, so it's kind of like think of the circuit courts, the right, this the Supreme Courts, all different kind of courts, and the same. This is probably where they got it from, the Jewish court system. That's not
That's
true.
what they said.
Yeah.
Our court is based on Jewish law.
Right. So there are many things that people may have questions, and that's also what's the Gemara, what's the Talmud? It's the back and forth. Is this the law? Is that the law? Back and forth until they kind of came to a conclusion. That's why this Judaism always has this back and forth and discussion. Hi, Malka. Okay. So actually it's very interesting because it talks about this. The Rebbe, he was of the belief that all yeshiva students, even if they weren't planning to become a rabbi, like as a profession, as a career, that they should learn to get smicha, which is the rabbinical certification. So at least when they lived in their home, they would know, oh, this is a question I need to ask a rabbi. So even if they aren't going to be a rabbi, they should have the certification. Not that they could answer for themselves, but they, oh, I remember we learned this. Let me call the rabbi and see what we should do in this case. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
Even now,
Oh, a lot of times I'll say people call it, in the Chabad system, not particularly in other schools. Yeah.
Is it a given that you get rabbi in the Chabad system?
Not given, but it's kind of like that would be, let's say a graduation, but like if you go through the whole system, then one of the things, that's like one of the things you do. Yes. But it's not particularly by all yeshivas.
Sorry, I fixed my my issue.
Okay,
I can
great.
read if you want.
Okay, I'll let you know when. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Okay, so it's very normal for people to ask questions and especially if you're starting out in your journey, even if you're not starting on your journey in the desert, they need to, they had all these questions and beautiful. Okay, but what does that have to do with the land? What does that have to do with the land of Israel? So we call Israel what's known as the Holy Land, right? What makes it holy? It has a holy temple in it, it has a holy nation, but the Torah just says that it is holy. Torah says it's a holy land. Many people write the famous thing when you come to Israel, the land of Israel, get on the ground and you kiss the ground. Do you do that by any other country? Maybe people started copying a little bit, but it was never done before, right? It's a holy land thing. Okay, let us read text number 11 first. 11. I'll save you for a bigger one, Eileen, okay?
No problem.
Andrea, want to do this one?
And God himself shall inherit Judah as his portion in the holy ground, and shall choose Jerusalem again.
Okay, so this is idea, it's a holy ground. And text number 12, this is when they first entered the land. And with Joshua, what did it say there? Sylvia, you want to do it?
And the captain of God's host said to Joshua, remove your shoes from your feet, for the place on which you stand, it is holy. And Joshua did.
Okay, so it's not just another country, Israel. It's a holy land. The environment is holy. It's designated for holy living. To live in Israel, we should be as holy as we could be. You feel and see a certain holiness when you're there. That's in the Torah. Because it's a good land that has so much stuff. Chalav is the chalav of it's not like milk from the cow, but it's milk from no. From the fat of something maybe. Chalav. And dvash is the honey of the dates. Chalav is the milk of I forgot what, but anyway, okay. Okay, so it's a spiritually sensitive place, and when you just treat it, like as such, we should treat it with special, just like when a person, let's say maybe a person's not religious, they walk into a synagogue, they'll put on a kippah, or they'll make sure they're dressed somewhat appropriately, because they just say, well, it's not right for me to come into the synagogue, not appropriate, right? So the same thing in the land of Israel, it's a special land, it's a holy land, we need to try to be, respectful of it. Text number 13. But you want to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. No, I've gone to single events. It's been a while though, but women are dressed very, I think inappropriately. Provocatively.
Oh, we're in LA after all.
I know, but
You're not religious.
but that's what I'm asking. My question is like, don't they know?
They might not know.
They may not know.
Just like someone might come to my house and talk about using their phone or talk about going home in a car. Is that appropriate or not appropriate?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean.
Okay,
I'm one of those that have to take it
then you
literal.
can't yell at them for dressing inappropriately. So if you're gonna do that, we'll do it all around. No, you're right, it's inappropriate, but I say it might be inappropriate. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they know and they're doing it anyway. It's not us to judge. It's Hashem to judge. So okay, let's read text. You want to read text number 13?
One should learn from here that when a person is in a holy place, they should adopt holy practices. The holier the place, the more holy practices one should adopt.
Okay, so many people don't see the holiness, let's say. They're oblivious to it, right? People live in the land of Israel, people visit. Doesn't mean that they feel it all the time or see it. Maybe they go away and then they come back, they feel it. Maybe like from, what I felt there is a special like divine providence. Things happened, or we met people when we're supposed to meet people, like very interesting. But you don't particularly, feel it there. But it's a beautiful, I guess it's a beautiful land and everything like that, but it's more than that. This is where the Jewish people, this is where we have our stake. This is where we need to bring our holiness into it, and then we're worthy of living there. So God said this is a holy land. We're a holy people. So we have to become holy to be able to fit into the holy land. So we don't have to like earn it. We don't have to, it's not like a prize that we get from in the desert learning and being good, but to be there, we have to at least have a certain level of awareness of godliness. We try to do what we can do. Okay, so let us read text number 14. And Eileen, now I'll let you do it.
Sure. Okay, the Jewish people were thinking to enter the land immediately. Moshe said to them, "You are thinking to inherit the land? Keep the way of the Holy One, blessed be He. As it is stated, look to Hashem and keep His way, and He will raise you high that you may inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, you shall see it. The Holy One, blessed be He, says, let the people of Israel who have come to be my portion inherit the land that has come to be my portion."
So the people, they learned the Torah, they got to receive the Torah, they're learning the Torah, they're involved, they're in it, so they get to have the land. Okay, so it wasn't a reward for doing mitzvahs, or it wasn't that they earn it, but it was, yes, it was Hashem's promise, it's our birthright, but at the same time, we have to be a certain worthiness, a certain holiness. So now, so why are Jews so connected to Israel? It's our intrinsic part of our identity. Our identity is Israel. Our holiness and its holiness. It's our call to live a holier life. When we, some people actually, there are people say, I don't want to move to Israel because I know I have to be holier. There are people who say that. You have to, it's a responsibility. Or the people, I think one time, I think someone asked, it was the Rebbe or the previous Rebbe, the Rebbe, why don't you go visit the land of Israel? So if I go there, I don't know if I can leave. So it's our ancestral home, yes, but we have to remember how we got there. We got there by being holy, by doing mitzvot, by upholding Hashem's word. Text number 15. Okay, who wants to do it? That's Yiddish. You can. You want to do English? Okay.
When one, yes, it's English, it's fun. When one doesn't accept Jewish prophets, proofs that the land of Israel is the Holy Land, we can tell them to travel around the world and ask any of the nations of the world what this land is called. And they will discover that every nation refers to it in their language. Okay, as a holy land, whether it is in English, in Russian, and etc.
Okay, so go ask any place, oh, what's the Holy Land? Oh, that's Israel, right? Or what is Israel? Oh, that's the Holy Land. It doesn't make a difference where you're from. Everyone knows that this is a special land. And when we treat the land right, by observing the Torah and by being holy in it, it makes the land safer. And that's why there's an important point I want to bring out. It doesn't say this here, but that it's important that there are people in Israel always learning Torah. That people say, oh, they're wasting their time. They should be doing this, they should be doing that. But the safety of the land of Israel, we rely on our soldiers. We also rely on the people learning Torah. Both of those things together is going to make it a safe place for us to live, because they're going to make sure spiritually that God is watching us, and the people who are doing the actual fighting, they're, in a physical sense, but both of it affects the physical safety of the land of Israel. So we do, yeah. So, huh?
You said that before.
Yeah. So, the security of the land of Israel, the Rebbe spoke about a lot. I want to show you a video afterwards about a little bit about it. Part of it is that the people of Israel and the Torah are all interconnected. It's all us being there and us having the worthiness. I don't know what the right word is to be there. Part of it is because there are people learning Torah that's there. Text number, 16. Who wants to do 16? Sylvia?
No, it'll be 16.
16, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All Jewish people are the inheritors of the entire Torah, which includes the verb, "Your locks are iron and copper." As such, every single Jew possesses the ability to influence the security of the land of Israel and to create locks of iron and copper for its protection. Even if one is very far away from Israel, they still have the responsibility to take care of its security. as the land of Israel is the internal birthright of every Jew. Practically, this means that when any Jew, even a young child, studies Torah and observes mitzvot, they create iron and copper laws for the entire Jewish nation, being that all Jews are interconnected. In other words, when one studies Torah and performs mitzvot, they secure the land of Israel with locks of iron and copper against any adversary. When a Jew increases their study of Torah and observance of commandments, God, the commander-in-chief of the Jewish nation, collects all the Torah and mitzvot and puts them in storage, and subsequently distributes them wherever they are needed. Thus, in any place where there are Jews, these Torah and mitzvot create iron and copper locks for their protection.
So any of us here in America or anywhere around the world, we want to do something for the land of Israel. We want to help there. When we add in Torah, when we add in mitzvahs, it helps secure and make a protection that says iron locks, right? That's the wording here. Iron and copper locks to keep Israel safe from its enemies. So this is something that we can do. The Rebbe was very strong about this. He before the 6-Day War, was it? The Rebbe started, huh? No, 6-Day War. Yeah, which was in 1967. Yes. So the Rebbe instituted a campaign for all Jewish men to put on tefillin. And that's why the whole idea started, that you go in the street and someone said, oh, did you put on tefillin yet? All over the world. Why? Because to protect the Jewish people in Israel. It's going to protect the land of Israel.
Sorry, why iron and copper? Where did that come from?
I guess it must be it's a quote from somewhere. No, just very, very strong. Iron and copper locks is very hard to break through. Yeah. So I want to show you all a video about what the Rebbe spoke about in 1991 when Saddam Hussein was trying to send rockets to into Israel. 1 second. Sound, 1 second. Here, I'll just take this off. Better this way. Share. I'm gonna turn it around so everyone can see. Give me a sec. I got the best way to do this. Okay, let me get that out of the way.
בשנת
Would you like a little soup that I'm making?
הייתה תקופה של מתח גדול מאוד במדינת ישראל, רק הלכה והתעצמה והחלה לאיים על מדינת ישראל, עם טילים.
One second, guys. I'm muting it. I just muted. I muted. I was starting again, but I don't. The sound isn't so. It's on 100 right now. Okay. But whoops. 1 second.
Oh, and my brother went there. He had a hard time when he
בשנת 90, סוף שנת 90, תחילת 91, הייתה תקופה של מתח גדול מאוד במדינת ישראל. עיראק הלכה והתעצמה והחלה לאיים על מדינת ישראל, שיחסלו את ישראל, סדאם חוסיין, עם טילים, עם נשק כימי, נשק ביולוגי, גם היה איום בנשק גרעיני. אחר כך סדאם חוסיין התפלש לכווית.
On August 2nd, 1990, Saddam Hussein's forces crossed the border into Kuwait, triggering the largest international crisis since the collapse of the Soviet Union.
Oh, whoops. I just muted.
Forces crossed the border into Kuwait, triggering the largest international crisis since the collapse of the Soviet Union.
והוא אמר אז בצורה ברורה שהוא יזרוק טילים על ישראל אם הוא ייפגע, ואף אחד לא ידע בדיוק מה יש לו ומה אין לו. ואני הייתי בארצות הברית, נסענו לברוקלין ונכנסנו אל הרב.
ימים אלה, ברכתו של הרב חשובה לנו במיוחד. ימים קשים אלה, הברכה של הרב חשובה לנו במיוחד.
ימים קשים זה ימים ערב חידוש ארץ. כבר אמרתי שכתוב מכול שערב ישראל אין השם אלוקיך בו בראשית השנה רק ראשונה.
זה התפרסם ומיד פרסמו את זה בכל העולם. אבל עדיין הלחץ היה לחץ, לא ידעו מה הולך לקרות. היו אנשים דתיים, לא דתיים. בארץ או בחוץ לארץ, אני זוכר את זה שהייתי אצל הרבי, אבל שמעתי בארץ אותו דבר. בכל מקום שאלו מה אמר הרבי, מה אומר?
Der Mond in dem Jalkut Shemeni, wegen welches man gerät mehrere Mal in den letzten Wochen. Beschaß in der Welt ist nicht ruhig. Und Malchus Misgori zu Bazu, was sagt, Abonai, wo man atem nivholim, was will tracht ihr wegen der Schrecken sich. Mit Zadru, was Israelam, sein nicht beschollen eine wie der zweite, wo ihr sollt wissen sein, wie Messiah in dem Jalkut Shemeni. Al Mishiachon shel Israel, Gelam shel Israel, steht schein nichtser, על גגי של בית המקדוש.
זה היה כבר באלול. השנה התחילה, והרבי בסוף אלול אומר ששנה הבאה, הראשי תיבות שלה תהי שנת ערינו נפלאות. והרבי התחיל להסביר בעריכות, שלמרות כל מה שדובר בשנה שעברה על הניסים, כלומר המהפכות השקטות בעולם, יציאת מאות אלפים מבני ישראל, זה עדיין לא מה שיהיה בתשנ"א. כמובן ההתרגשות הייתה עצומה, אבל מצד שני, בפועל רואים כל הזמן קולות מלחמה, ופחדים ולחץ, מחלקים מסכות.
Gelassen der Fassen sollen, als sie trotzdem nicht zu slow. Was sie da jeden was schrecken sich und schrecken andere, wenn zu slow. Dann vorne hinzu. Das ist an der Quarz, und klar, was sie wissen tragen, dass sie der sicherste Wort, der Fall dort zu der Wort von den Schamigos. Dann schul ist fehlt.
בינתיים בהתוודויות הרבה עדיין לא דיבר בזה ברבים. בינתיים ההתייחסות הייתה לאנשים יחידים שבאו לשאול עצה או בתשובות פרטיות.
התוך באמת ישראל, בסמינרי, 18-jährigen Wissenschaftler hinbringen in Lachama.
In Seminary wo in Jerusalem. In Gotten, das zusammen mit Leibischen in Mirabira. Die war dann so mal, die konnten dann sicheren Wort.
Dat is, ik zou wel hebben van niet brengen.
Gaat ze schon. Dat valt er gaan niet brengen. Maar ze konden dat verleden goede zaken in ihrer kennis. Ze hebben het zo gedaan.
Ik het dat. Ja, zeker.
Ik dacht dat niet door zomaar dat gekregen dat niet zo afval. Afwerken.
Значит, вот треба сделать не размеренно на свора пиловали.
Niet met de toaster, maar het beglaal eigenlijk dat ze mij het zadas waren, het van de school. Die plannen gaan die gekomen en ze met de schieren. Ik vind dan zaken weer een pakketje. Dan het nog gelaten.
הרשויות כאן בארץ והמערכת הביטחונית הכינה שהצטרכו להיות שבועות או ימים בבתים. שאל יהודי חסיד, האם לאגור מזון? רבי ענה לו, אגירת מזון בארץ הקודש, הרי זה הפקעת מחירים בארץ הקודש. לפלא השאלה, שלא לאגור מזון, לשמוע על הוראות הביטחון.
Operation Desert Storm had begun. The Americans' first target was Iran's capital.
The remains of a house in Tel Aviv after this morning's Scud missile attacks.
At least 7 Scud missiles were launched at Israel, 2 exploding in a suburb of Tel Aviv, 2 in Haifa.
נפל טיל ראשון בארץ, רעש, בעלה. כולם מה הרב אומר. יום שישי בבוקר יצא מברק מהרבה. במברק הרב אמר, שבת שלום, ובאופן דשמחה, וביום שמחתכם אלו השבתות. ליל שבת של אותו שבת, 770 היה מלא כמו תשרי. כולם הגיעו. כשהרבי נכנס לתפילה, שרו עוצו עצה ותופר.
Several more missiles into Israel early this morning, making that the second attack within 30 hours.
Thanks God, no casualties, 3 slightly wounded. The buildings which were damaged will be renovated and repaired. This we can always do. Life of people who can never bring again.
הרבי בהתוועדות נכנס, הרבי דיבר ככה בחיות מהר, והרבי התייחס באופן פרטי לעניין, ואמר, הניסים שהיו השבוע, שמלך עיראק, מלך בבל, רוצה לגוע בירושלים, ויהיה לו מפלה, והיה לו מפלה, כמו שרואים מה שעשו השבוע, נכנסו לארמונות שלו והשפילו אותו, והוא נע ונד ממקום למקום, ואין לו קביעות. לאחר מכן הרבי אמר שעם ישראל בטוחים בארץ ישראל, והכל הקדוש ברוך הוא עושה לטובתם. בניי אל תתייראו.
The question is, should we go to Israel now for the...
Certainly, no doubt about it. If you can take someone else also from the group, that will be a good thing to do. And God Almighty bless you, that will be for the additional persons and that you'll influence to go with you.
אשתי מאוד מודאגת לנסוע לארץ.
הדואגת של ארץ ישראל. הקדוש ברוך הוא כבר מילא כל העניינים.
כל שבוע ביום ראשון, אנשים מכל העולם התקשרו לשאול מה אמר הרבי בחלוקת הדולרים. והמון אנשים שאלו את הרבי מה יהיה, מה לעשות.
Was soll ich empfangen? Ich fragt mir, von zurück, von nicht zurück, von Reus, was fehlt darauf? Ja. Also ein Bichelmenschen bin ich nicht hier, weil bin ich in der Israel. Aber sie bald die Fleckchen bringen, lieber ich nicht tanzen, von dem Jahr. Ich heiß habe von der Israel, und da war ein Porsche, und die war seinen Dorten. Es war sehr halt der Riese, wenn ich sie mehr als Akelisch, und die was Korna hinzufahren, auf Schema Fassen, was sie fahren, in der Mille, Jingen, that das nicht fair ist, in der Nähe, das Hebel von Schuchenau. That will give to charity in Israel, and God will want to bless all the Jews in Israel to go from strength to strength in good, in Nuchas HaNefesh, in peace of mind, and to have no fear at all.
So roughly at that time, the Rebbe requests that a full-page ad be put together for the New York Times. So this is roughly a month before Purim. I prepared a number of proposals and ideas as per the Rebbe's directions and edits and insights. After all the delays, we realized that it's almost Purim. So we decided to combine the two themes, which are very obvious. So the headline was, Celebrate a Victory in the Gulf. On that very day, President Bush holds a news conference.
Kuwait is liberated. Iraq's army is defeated. Our military objectives are met.
נפלו בארץ 39 טילים. אני הייתי כשר לביטחון פנים, שר משטרה, בכל מקום שנפל טיל. בקניון בחיפה נפל טיל. במרכזי מגורים, ברמת גן, אני ראיתי פיזית איך 4 בתים שהיו בריבוע אחד, כולם קרסו, חלקם קרס. האזרח היחיד שנפגע מסכן היה ברמת חן, ואז כשהייתי עובר ממקום למקום, כל הזמן חשבתי על מה שהרב אמר.
Okay, thank you all for joining. Yeah. So today, I know now in Israel, I can't even imagine what's going on there. But we have to have that bitachon that Hashem is with us.
Beautiful share, beautiful